thing, because making a 1,000-word mistake like this tracks. It's no big deal. We're okay. Everything's okay. I have faith in myself as a writer. We're not ruining this. I don't know. I love this scene. Hi, Percy. Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Today, we're doing a writing vlog. We are continuing our progress on writing my second novel, where I take you guys along from beginning to end. So, I've been wanting to do this since coming back from my trip. I found this trip was very refreshing, very inspiring, made me want to write. Right? Not only that, my last writing vlog, you guys seemed to really like. This part 1 of the series. If you have not seen it already, I will have that linked in the description. Anyway, it did really well, and people really seemed to like it, and they like the work through process, and I like sharing it. So I've been wanting to do this video. I've been back for a couple weeks now, and I have just been sick. I've been ill, I've been tired. I haven't like actually, it's been like a little under the weather, but that's almost worse because then you don't like get past it, you know what I mean? Where you just kind of feel, anyway. I just haven't had the energy to do it. I'm also a chronic pain girly, and that trip took a lot out of me, you know? I needed a big rest time. And I'm still like fighting to get back into the swing of things, you know? So even though I want to do this video, even though I want to write, I've been having trouble getting there. So this is a whole series about being transparent with my writing process. I thought, what a great chance to like show you guys how I work through it. And one of the ways of doing that is I just give myself a fun little reward. So 1, I have a fun little iced coffee and a fun little glass. 2, we're just gonna dive into a scene that I've been really excited to write, even though it's technically like we haven't done any of the work to build up to that scene yet. So like, does it make a lot of sense to be working on it right now? No, but I'm excited to write it, and I think I have a very clear vision of what I want it to be. Okay, so that's what we're working with. Right, a scene that I'm excited to write. I got a fun little drink. I dressed up today in like this little love heart shirt. I feel good. I feel pretty. I am not in a crap ton of pain. I'm still in a little bit of pain, but not as much as I have been. So, you know, we're gonna power through this feeling, okay? With writing sprints. You cannot see that. Writing sprints. So, I know you guys know Red, White, and Royal Blue, because of course you do. Casey McQuiston, that author, uses this same tickless timer or soundless timer, something like that. It doesn't go, it just kind of beeps when it's done. And so that's literally why I got it. I saw it on her TikTok and I went click. So this is what we're gonna be working with. We're gonna do, let's start with 10 minutes. Yeah, let's start with 10 minutes. We're gonna do 10-minute writing sprints to kind of work out those cobwebs of fatigue, of out of practice, to get the gears going. So yeah, I think 10 minutes is a solid time, and I'm not letting my hands come off of the keyboard the entire time. I don't care if I'm typing blah 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 until an idea comes to mind, but that's what I'm doing. That's how I started writing Found Adrift. Right there, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Blurb down in the description. But that's how I started writing Found Adrift. When Found Adrift was still a novella and I completely scrapped it, I started over. I had no idea how to start. And I just started typing mermaid. A mermaid is this. A mermaid is that. A mermaid likes this. As if it's a children's book. But it got the gears going. And so we're trying that method again, ladies and gents and everything in between. Okay, I've been talking long enough. Let's just fucking get into it. Hold on. I just now got in a roll. Okay, hold on. So let's talk about this. I will show you kind of from afar or slightly out of focus. Yeah, that's what I wrote. All the spaces and everything. Honorary mentions. More honorary mentions. Okay, so let's talk about it. So, there was a lot of shit in there that I didn't like. But what I'm gonna do now is delete everything I didn't like. I like the last sentence I wrote. I do not like this. I started writing conversation, which is what all those spaces were, and I was like, I'm not gonna try to do dialogue in a time like this. So I oddly really like the first sentence and the last sentence that I wrote. Okay, just fixing a couple typos. Out of that 10-minute sprint, there are 2 lines that I liked. And that's fine, that's not great. So we're gonna do sprint number 2. We're gonna do it again. This time, working off those 2 lines. Hold on, let me read them to make sure that they actually make sense and I don't need to like separate them. Yeah, no, they need to be 2 separate paragraphs. There are 2 different opening lines to 2 different paragraphs. So we're gonna, cool. So let's focus on the second one, because the second one's where I left off. We're gonna do another 10 minutes and we're gonna see how that goes. I guess I should actually pick like an end goal for this. So a lot of authors, this is something I've learned with a lot of my co-authors on Instagram and on TikTok, is that a lot of people will set themselves time limits for the day for how much they write. And I know we've talked about how I tend to do a 400 word mark for like a word count for the day instead of time for the day. I think I'm gonna do time for the day, but I think I'm gonna do 4 10-minute sprints and we're gonna see how far we go. And if we hit the 400 word mark, awesome. If not, we should hit the 400 word mark. I have faith in us, in me, that we are gonna do that, that I'm gonna do that. So yeah, I'm trying to like think ahead, and let's not think ahead, let's stay in the moment. Stay in the moment. We're doing another 10-minute sprint, and yeah, I just don't want to disappoint myself with starting with a scene that I like. And here's the thing, it's like painting. You can paint over and over and over, and then if you ever get to a point where there's too much paint, you strip and it's fine. It's the same thing with writing. You can write and rewrite and edit. Like, I can't ruin this scene, you know what I mean? And I am no stranger to just starting over. That doesn't scare me. I say as I heave a dejected sigh. It doesn't scare me. I don't like it. No one likes to completely scrap their work and start over. But I will do it. And knowing that I have that skill set, that I have that in me to do it, I've done it before, that I have the tools to completely scrap my work and start over, is a bit of a comfort in knowing I can't ruin this scene. Trust yourself. Trust yourself to write. You know how to write. You've written a book. You've done it. You've done it. And even if I hadn't, doesn't matter. I can do this. It's okay. It's scary writing because it's a solitary thing. Like, I can post a work in progress painting on Instagram and people can give their input, people can like, share, comment, what have you, and it doesn't ruin it. But working on this scene, I want to tell you what it is. I want to tell you like the thought process that I'm going through, and I can't, just because then it feels like it takes away from the final story, you know? Like, writing's very solitary in that way, where like work in progress are a little bit harder to share. And again, not the idea of like ruining it, because like if I were to share my writing with my friends and they were giving me their feedback, I'd be able to bring them a second draft. But I would be able to bring them a second draft, you know? Not everyone's gonna give my writing a second chance if I don't show them like the finished work. There's nothing I want to add to that other than writing can be a very solitary thing. And it's scary and it's hard, and I am borrowing worry from the future. I am borrowing worry from the future. We have done one 10-minute sprint, and we're gonna do the second 10-minute sprint right now. Okay, cool. It's no big deal. We're okay. Everything's okay. Everything is okay. I have faith in myself as a writer. We're not ruining this. It's okay. I don't know if that's gonna make it into the final edit. That was a really weird tangent. I think we're actually going to do a 20-minute sprint this time around, to see if we can get more into the groove of things. But before we do that, I'm actually gonna go lay down for 5 minutes. My back is really hurting. And I'm only mentioning that. If you don't know, I'm a chronic pain girly. But I'm only mentioning it in case my hair looks different when we come back. That's why. I'm gonna go lay down, and then we're gonna do a 20-minute sprint. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. The reason for that is because, one, my back was hurting a lot more than I thought. I had to lay down for a very long time. Two, there are people fixing the aircon right now, and they were walking in my ceiling. So yeah, we just took a bit of a break, but break done. We're doing writing sprint number 2 now, and I'm kind of glad I took that break. One, because I was getting a little pessimistic with myself about like, did I do this wrong? Which, like, how can you do something wrong when it's your own creation, you know what I mean? Like, you can always fix it. But I don't know, I was starting to get like in my head self-doubting, considering scrapping this video, just because, again, working through those like cement cobwebs of getting back in the swing of it, of, hey, you can write, you're good at writing. I don't have any traditional like English teaching other than like some college English and creative writing classes, so I can often feel very self-doubty, one might say. But yeah, no, we work through it. We're doing more sprints, and I'm excited for the scene, and I think I know where I want to take it. I'm not gonna limit myself to keeping my hands on the keyboard. That's gonna be my goal, but I think the idea of like always having my hands moving stressed me out a little too much. It's a good exercise, and I usually really like it, but today it stressed me out, and that's fine. We are flexible, we adapt. So yeah, it's gonna be the goal, but if I have to backspace, I will, and if I have to take my hands off the keyboard for a second, I will. Giving myself that grace. So if you notice, I started to like panic when I tried to backspace, and I was like, you're on a timer, you can't backspace. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. We're chill. It's all good, baby. Ain't no thing. So headphones are going back in. Do you like my lime green headphones? I got them refurbished, and I've never seen someone else have this color. I like that you can see them in my hair. And we're gonna set up and we're gonna go. I have good news. So you saw I kept writing. I gave myself another 20 minutes, and then there became another 35 minutes perhaps. But word count is 1,121 words. You don't believe me? I will show you. So I wrote more than I thought I was going to, which is how things like this tend to work. You know, the idea of the 400 words a day is so that you kind of ramp yourself up and suddenly words start coming out. You know, you loosen up all those gears and you get the cogs turning, and what have you. Now, I unfortunately made a very sad realization once I was done writing. I wrote this entire thing from his point of view. I'm not doing dual point of view this book. Yeah. This scene might make me change my mind. It might not. But whether that is the case or not, I think that this is really fun, and it could be like a fun little bonus segment at the very end, having this moment from his point of view. But not only that, like being able to work out his motivations and how he views her and how he views, like, this is a enemies to lovers story. Yes, they have to be enemies. There has to be conflict. This is him trying to say sorry. In one of the first like big conflict moments, he realizes what happened is not a reflection of him, and thus starts their like relationship. Because the thing with enemies to lovers is, for them to be enemies, they have to have a reason to fight. Basically, they have to have a reason to be enemies, and I want that to be realistic. Like, they have to work together. There has to be a reason for the conflict to happen. You know, they have to come together. And so he's trying to, you know, and so he's trying to apologize to start building the relationship, and thus conflict happens. And yeah, I don't think that we're gonna see this scene from him in this point of view in the actual book, but it was really fun to write. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm torn because originally I wasn't gonna do dual POV. Reasons why: Found Adrift is dual POV, and I find that very not easy to write, but it is how my brain naturally wants to tell stories. I want to tell you bits and pieces and fit them together like a puzzle. You know, I really enjoy that, but I want to challenge myself. And I really like the idea of this book being told just from her point of view, and then the diary entries from Briar. I really like that idea, and so this doesn't super fit into that, but I love, I don't know, I love this scene. I don't know how this happened. Okay. I didn't do it on purpose, which is the worst part. It just, this is what comes naturally to me. Doing these puzzle pieces as we flip between points of view, almost like a movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's how my brain works. We are following the story, and whatever point of view gives us the most information for the story is how I want to tell it. But I think that there is something really interesting in molding, because from one single person's point of view, you are only getting one side of the story, and so your brain, you're filling in the others using context clues, and I really like that. And so this is one of these moments where it's like, I need the context clues to kind of write around it, to write from her point of view of the cause and effect of what happens, you know? And so I'm glad that I wrote it, and I do think I'm gonna save it, even if I do decide not to do, like, officially not to do dual POV. Because at the moment I keep going back and forth. But yeah, so even though this was a 1,000-word mistake, I really hope that you guys watch my vlog for the background behind this, so you just know what kind of fucking week I'm having, because making a 1,000-word mistake like this tracks. Anyway, even though I did that, I think that this was very, very beneficial. I think that this is very important, and I think it sets the groundwork for me writing the scene from her point of view. All this to say. But not only that, I like the things that I worked out doing this because I know I wanted this scene to happen. This moment of conflict needs to happen, right? So the question is, how do we get there? I never want to be an author who works backwards from a point that they want to make, where, and I know that you guys have seen this, where there is a plot point, a point of conflict, a scene, a location that you can tell the author put all their whole ass pussy into it. Like, they really want to write this scene. And then they kind of work their way backwards to make sure that that scene happens. I never want to be that. What I want to be is someone who, I have this idea for a scene. It's pretty solid. It's still a little squishy. We can still change it, but like, that is the plot point that's a story I want to tell, right? And now, instead of working our way backwards instead of the knight saves the princess because he kills a dragon and ends up in the castle and was set on this quest, I want to go, he was set on this quest because he needed money and the only option was to go and kill the dragon. Okay, he kills the dragon and realizes that, you know, like, what have you. Like, I always want the characters to be motivated. I'm having a really hard time not picking an example that shits on another author. I'm so sorry. Because every example I want to tell you is from a story that I've read, and I feel really bad doing that. So I don't want to do that. But like, I want my characters to have incredibly solid motivation. There is a reason I am telling you this story. This is a story I want to tell, and I am pushing my characters through it. I'm not dragging them, I'm pushing them.
Because I'm a pusher. I push people.
And so in writing this, it let me really work out those like knots, so to say. Like, I was forced to figure out, why is he coming to fix this conflict? You know, oh, well, it was mean. That's not a good enough choice. Percy, pick something stronger. Make him feel shitty. Make him feel like an asshole. Have a bad, not like a bad character, but have an imperfect character. Let him do something bad. And he feels bad about it, you know? Because enemies to lovers does not have to be, oh, they hate each other. It's awful. It's toxic. There's a time and place for that. I'm not saying that that's not fun, because it is fun. But that's not the story I want to tell with this. You know what I mean? And so I was, I'm really excited to have worked out those kinks of like, why does he care? Why does he care what she thinks? Why does he care that he made her feel bad? Why does he care to fix it? That like really got my gears going, which I liked. And not only that, but like thinking, and this is just me for an author, this isn't like going into the story, again, it depends on if I'm doing dual POV or not, but getting to think, how does, because her house is almost like a character in itself, you know, like the setting of, you should always think of settings as characters, blah blah blah, but her house is like a character itself. And how I know what that looks like from her point of view and from my point of view. What does it look like from his? What does he see as he's coming up to her house and he sees the faded paint, the overgrown balcony, the dirty windows? Like, what image does that put forth, and what does that present to him, you know? What does he think of her? You know, because from a storytelling aspect, personally, I believe every word you put on the page has a meaning. Everything you put down, there's a reason for it. We're cutting the fucking fat. We're not there yet. We're not cutting the fat just yet. We're still putting the fat on. But like, that's how my brain works. If we're gonna look at her house, what does her house tell us about her as a character? What does the placement of her house in the cul-de-sac, what does that mean? That's part of the story. And that's not something I thought of beforehand. That's something I thought of as I wrote him walking up to her house. It's like, oh, well, she's where it's situated. That's an interesting thing about her grandma, who used to own the house. How would her grandma set it up, and was it like in passing hands? Anyway, I love writing. All this to say, I love writing. I do. I love painting a picture, and how much information can I tell you with this picture in the fewest amount of words? It's a fun puzzle game for me personally. I'm having the time of my life. And that's all that matters. And I wrote for what, like an hour and some change today, and it's 1,000 words. It's not a lot. Writing takes such a fucking long time. And I know that I am very, I hate to say lucky or blessed, because oh, I'm so lucky that I'm just in chronic pain all the time and unable to work, so I can work on my writing whenever I want. Like that's fucking dumb. But you know, in a weird way, I am in a slightly more fortunate position where I can spend an hour, 45 minutes, 3 hours. I've spent 5 hours just writing, just do on my little computer, my own little dreamland. Like I've done that before, and that is not something that everyone can do. And so I feel very lucky to write this story and to one day get to share it with you. One day soon. I will not get this out by fall. I will not get this out by fall. I will not get this out by fall. But my dream is an October release. I should have started working on this earlier in the year, but I had health, you know. But my dream is that this would come out like October 1st. It's not. But, you know, a bitch can hope. A bitch can dream. But anyway, that's the write with me for today. Kind of all over the place. Kind of a bit of a mess up on my end. But even though I made a mistake, even though this might not be useful to the final book, I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of me for pushing and getting this done and doing the writing sprints and getting back into this world. It makes me happy. Like I said, I've had one hell of a week. But yeah, writing takes a lot of time, and I am so excited to continue this project and do another write with me, maybe later this week. So far we have written roughly the opening scene and one of the first conflicts. Ooh, I might not do it for this video. I kind of want to make a graph so we can like check off where we've been. You know, have you seen, you might not have, but if you guys are authors and you don't play The Sims, I'm just saying that's right up your alley. But James Turner, Sims content creator, James Turner, formerly known as The Sims Supply, the Sims content creator, and he makes really fun little graphs that glow up, and he does the little check marks and they glow, and it's so fun. I'm gonna see if I can do that, so we can, because I can show you like where we are in the story, because again, I can't tell you like spoilers about the story, but I can show you. So if we were looking at like Act 1, this is like here. It's like one of the first conflicts, one of the first jumping off points for Act 1, which is exciting. So making progress little by little. We still have to make the connective tissue between these two things, but we're gonna worry about that later. Okay, bye. But yeah, if you guys like book things, if you guys like author things, if you just like a girl who loves to yap about words, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Go ahead and click the like button. Also, tell me, do you like dual POV? I'm so curious. I don't know if I do. I like it when it's done correctly, but I think that's just me liking my own book. But yeah, no, genuinely, do you like dual POV? Do you prefer only one point of view? Do you prefer first person? Do you prefer second person? Have you seen a good like book who does second person well? I haven't. Let me know. Or if you're an author, a writer, a short story creator, what are your default settings when you're writing a story? I'm really curious because apparently mine is dual POV. So let me know. Okay? Okay. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. We're gonna get more writing done. We're gonna get more reading done. I have a lot of books that I'm trying to read. I want to do like the midway freakout talk. There's a lot of things I want to do. So we'll hang out next time. Bye. I just really want to go play The Sims now. Disregard the clutter sounds behind you. There's not a random pile of shit that I was hiding from the camera. Never. What would make you think such a thing? Tell me where I almost went. Hi, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm not. Nor do I like Gwyneth Paltrow.